It's 5:47 in the morning, and your hands are already gripped tight around the steering wheel, engine running, driveway still dark around you, and you haven't gone anywhere yet. Have you noticed how loud a quiet car can feel when your mind is already 3 hours ahead of where your body is? But you are not the only one holding your breath in a driveway like this one. This morning, someone greater than every worry racing through your mind is already awake with you. And that alone is enough to loosen your grip on the wheel, just a little, before we even begin. Maybe it's a meeting that could go sideways today. Maybe it's a child who woke up with a fever, or a bill that's due before the paycheck lands. None of it is fully in your hands, and yet all of it is sitting on your chest right now. Welcome, friend, to this quiet place. You don't have to have it together to be here. You don't have to know how today will go. You only have to arrive, just as you are, hands still trembling, mind still racing. This is a place to breathe. So let your shoulders drop, just an inch. Let your breath go a little slower. Whatever you were gripping when this video began, you can loosen it now, even if only for the next 50 minutes. Before we pray, let's take a moment to remember everything that is already a gift in your life. Because before we ask for anything, it helps to remember what we already carry. Not the list of what's wrong, the list of what's still here. You are breathing right now, in and out. That breath was not owed to you. It was given. Quietly, faithfully, without your effort, all through the night while you slept and worried and turned over in bed. Your breath kept coming. That is not nothing. That is grace, moving through your body before you even noticed it. Think, for a moment, of your body itself. Tired maybe, aching in places, but carrying you. Your hands that gripped that wheel this morning, they are hands that have held people you love, fed people you love, steadied you when you needed steadying. Thank you for this body, imperfect and exhausted as it feels today. Think of the people who are woven into your life, even the complicated ones. A voice on the phone, a child's laugh from another room, a friend who checked in on a hard week. Somewhere, right now, someone is thinking of you with love, even if you can't feel it in this moment. Thank you. For the people who make this life less lonely, think of this morning itself. However it began, however rushed, however anxious, there was a sky outside that turned from dark to light without your permission or your effort. The sun did not wait for you to feel ready. It rose anyway. A small, steady proof that things can begin again, even after a hard night. Thank you for a new morning, offered freely, whether we feel deserving of it or not. And think of this quiet moment right now, this pause you've carved out, in the middle of everything pulling at you. This, too, is a gift. Not everyone gives themselves permission to stop. You did. That matters. Thank you for this stillness, however brief. Let your mind travel back a little further to the things you almost forget to count. A roof over your head, however humble. Warm water from a faucet. A bed to return to tonight. Somewhere along the way, these became so ordinary that they stopped feeling like gifts, but they still are. Thank you for the ordinary comforts that quietly hold your life together. Think of a hard season you already survived. Not this one, an older one. A winter that felt like it would never end. A loss that seemed too heavy to carry. A fear that kept you up at night for months. You are still here. You made it through. Whatever carried you then is still available to you now. Thank you for every hard morning before this one that somehow, eventually, turned into an ordinary afternoon again. Think of the small kindnesses you've received without asking. A stranger holding a door. A coworker noticing you seem tired and asking if you were okay. A message that arrived at exactly the right moment. These are not accidents strung together by chance. They are quiet evidence that you are being watched over, even on days you feel invisible. Thank you for the small mercies that arrive exactly when they're needed. Think, too, of the strength you didn't know you had until you needed it. A hard conversation you survived. A diagnosis you learned to live inside. A loss you carried and somehow did not let it carry you under. You did not always feel strong in those moments. But looking back, you can see now that something held you together when you were sure you'd fall apart. Thank you for the strength that showed up exactly when your own ran out. And think of your faith itself, however small it feels some mornings, however shaken by seasons of doubt. You are here, right now, choosing to pray instead of only worry. That choice, however quiet, is itself a form of courage. It means some part of you still believes that reaching toward God is worth doing, even on a hard morning. Thank you for the faith that keeps choosing to show up, even when it feels small. And think, one more time, of this exact morning. The driveway, the steering wheel, the engine idling in the dark. Even this moment, uncomfortable as it felt, became the place where you chose to stop and pray instead of just driving straight into an anxious day. That choice itself was a quiet gift, a small mercy you gave yourself, even before you realized it. Thank you for this very moment, and for the courage it took to pause inside it. Gratitude doesn't erase what's hard. It doesn't pretend the fear away or make the uncertainty disappear. But it does something quieter, something important. It reminds you that your life is not only the things going wrong, it is also breath, and hands, and people, and light, and this very pause. Let that truth sit with you for a moment, before we bring the harder things forward, because there is so much today that feels out of your hands. The outcome of that decision, the health of someone you love, the way tomorrow will unfold. You did not choose this uncertainty, and you cannot simply choose it away. But you can bring it somewhere. You can set it down instead of carrying it alone. Now that your heart is open and grateful, let us bring everything you carry to God in prayer. Let's pray. Father, I come to you this morning with my hands still a little unsteady. So much feels out of my control today, and I don't know how to carry all of it gracefully. So I bring it to you, instead of pretending I can hold it alone. You already know what's weighing on me. The decision I can't undo. The person I can't fix. The outcome I won't know until it arrives. I have run through it 100 times in my mind, and still, I cannot control how it ends. And that is the hardest part. Not the problem itself, but the not knowing. the waiting, the feeling of standing in a driveway with the engine running, going nowhere, because nowhere feels safe to go. But you are not surprised by any of this. Nothing about my morning caught you off guard. You were awake before I was. You already know how this day unfolds, even the parts still hidden from me. So today, I ask you for one thing above all else. Help me trust you with what I cannot control, not because I understand it, not because I feel calm about it, but because you have never once let go of me. Even in the mornings I doubted you were there. Take this fear I'm carrying about what today might bring, the phone call I'm dreading, the results I'm waiting on, the conversation I don't know how to have. I set it down here, at your feet, because my hands were never strong enough to carry it well anyway. Help me remember. That control was never really mine to begin with. Not the sunrise, not the traffic, not other people's choices, not even my own heartbeat, which you sustain without my permission every single second. And if control was never fully mine, then maybe peace doesn't require me to have it. Maybe peace only requires me to trust the one who does. So right now, quietly, in this moment, say this with me. If you're willing, say this quietly with me. I don't have to control today. I only have to trust the one who already holds it. Let those words settle in you. Not as a performance, not as something to feel instantly, but as a small, honest act of surrender. A single sentence whispered into a morning that feels bigger than you. Lord, there is a specific worry sitting on my chest right now. You know exactly what it is. Maybe it's health. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's a relationship fraying at the edges. Maybe it's simply the fear that I won't be enough for what today requires of me. I don't ask you to remove it instantly. I ask you to sit with me in it, to remind me gently that I am not facing it with my own strength, but with yours, standing quietly behind mine. Help me stop rehearsing worst-case mornings before they've even happened. Help me stop gripping the wheel of a car that hasn't moved yet. Teach me instead to hold today with open hands, ready to receive whatever comes, trusting that you are already inside it, working even the parts I cannot see. There's a kind of peace that doesn't wait for the outcome to be settled. It settles the heart first and lets the outcome catch up. That is the peace I am asking for this morning. Not the peace of certainty, but the peace of trust. Even now, I confess, it is hard to release my grip. My hands want to hold tightly to what I fear losing. My mind wants to solve what only time will reveal. But I am learning, slowly, morning by morning, that surrender is not weakness. It is the bravest kind of trust there is. I think of how many mornings I have spent trying to control things that were never mine to control in the first place. Trying to guess how a conversation would go before it happened. Trying to predict how a diagnosis would read before the test results came in. Trying to secure an outcome that only time and grace could actually settle. And every time, the grip only ever tired me. It never once changed the outcome. It only made the waiting heavier. So today, I want to try something different. Not passivity, not giving up on the things I can actually do, but releasing what was never within my reach to begin with. The results. other people's choices, the timing of things I've been praying about for months, maybe years. Help me tell the difference today between what is mine to carry and what is yours to hold. Let me do the next right thing in front of me, the phone call I need to make, the kindness I can offer, the honest word I need to say, and then let me release the rest into hands far more capable than mine. Again, gently, let these words move through you. Say this quietly with me. I release what I cannot control, and I trust the hands that hold it instead. Feel the weight in your chest for a moment. Acknowledge it honestly, and then, breath by breath, let it loosen. Not because the situation has changed, but because you are no longer facing it alone in a locked car with the engine running and nowhere to go. There is somewhere to go. Right here. Into this trust. Into this presence that has never once abandoned you. Not in your hardest mornings. Not in your most uncertain nights. Think of every time before this one, when something felt entirely out of your hands. And somehow, it worked itself out in a way you couldn't have engineered yourself. That wasn't luck. That was faithfulness, quietly at work, even when you couldn't see the hands moving behind the scenes. The same faithfulness is awake with you this morning. Lord, I want to name honestly what I'm afraid might happen today. I'm afraid the answer will be no. I'm afraid the diagnosis will be hard. I'm afraid the relationship won't heal the way I've been praying it would. I'm afraid I'll run out of strength before the day runs out of demands. I don't say this to dwell in fear. I say it so I can hand it to you by name, rather than carrying a vague, formless dread all day long. You already knew each of these fears before I spoke them. And still, you are here. Still patient. Still steady. Still willing to walk through this exact morning with me. So, Father, for the hours ahead of me today, for the meeting I'm nervous about, the conversation I've been avoiding, the results I'm waiting for, the child who needs more patience than I feel I have left, I ask for strength that isn't mine. Strength that shows up exactly when I run out of my own. Help me move through today, 1 hour at a time, not the whole week at once. One decision at a time, not every possible outcome at once. One breath at a time, not the weight of everything all together. There is a kind of tiredness that comes not from what has already happened, but from carrying every possible version of what might happen. Free me from that today. Let me live in the hour that is actually in front of me, not the 12 imagined hours my fear keeps rehearsing. And when fear rises again, because it will, probably before this prayer even ends, remind me gently that I already set it down here. I don't have to pick it back up just because it's persistent. Let me practice today the small discipline of noticing when I've picked the worry back up and gently setting it down again. Not once, but as many times as it takes. Trust is rarely a single decision. It's 100 small returns, morning after morning, hour after hour. I think, too, of others carrying their own version of this morning. Someone else, somewhere, is gripping their own steering wheel right now, afraid of their own uncertain day. Lord, meet them too. Loosen their hands the way I'm asking you to loosen mine. Let them feel, even for a moment, that they are not alone in this either. and for the people I love who are walking through uncertainty of their own, the ones whose health worries me, whose finances worry me, whose choices I cannot control no matter how much I wish I could. I release them into your care as well. I cannot hold their outcomes any more than I can hold my own, but you can hold all of it, all at once, without strain. Teach my heart. Today, the difference between caring deeply and controlling tightly. I can care about the people and situations in my life without needing to grip them so hard my hands go numb. Help me love without clenching. Help me hope without demanding a guarantee. Lord, let me bring you the specific rooms of my life where control feels tightest. One at a time, honestly, instead of one great blur of anxiety. I think first of my work and everything tied to it. The provision my family depends on. The approval I sometimes chase harder than I chase you. The fear that one bad quarter, one difficult boss, one missed opportunity could undo everything I've built. I cannot control the market, or the decisions made in rooms I'm not invited into, or whether the effort I pour out today will be recognized the way I hope. I can only bring my honest work and trust that provision has never actually come from my grip. It has always come from your faithfulness, even in the years I forgot to notice. So I release my work into your hands this morning. Not my effort, I will still show up and do it well. But the outcome, the timing, the recognition, that was never mine to secure. I think, too, of my health, or the health of someone I love. The test results still pending. The diagnosis that changed everything overnight. The ordinary ache that has started to worry me more than it should. Nothing feels more out of my hands than this. I cannot will a body back into wellness. I cannot control what a scan will reveal, but you knit this body together before I ever took a breath. You know it more intimately than any report ever could. So I bring this fear to you, honestly, not with a demand for the outcome I want, but with a plea for your presence inside whatever the outcome turns out to be. Say this quietly with me. My body and the bodies of those I love are held by hands steadier than my own fear. I think of my family and the relationships I cannot force into repair no matter how much I want to. The child pulling away, right when I want to hold on tighter. The marriage carrying quiet tension neither of us knows how to name. The parent aging faster than I'm ready for. I cannot control another person's heart. I cannot make someone choose reconciliation or healing, or even just a kinder tone at the dinner table tonight. What I can do is show up with patience instead of pressure, with prayer instead of panic, with love that keeps offering itself even when it isn't returned the way I hoped. So I release the people I love into your care as well, Lord. Not because I stopped caring, but because I was never meant to carry their hearts the way only you can. I think, finally, of money. The numbers that keep me up some nights, the bill that arrives before the paycheck does, the retirement I worry I'll never be ready for, the debt that feels like a slow, quiet weight on every decision I make. I cannot control the economy. I cannot control every expense that shows up uninvited. I can only be faithful with what's in front of me today, and trust that you have never once let me starve while I was trying to walk faithfully. Say this quietly with me. What I cannot provide on my own, grace has never failed to supply. Work, health, family, money, the four corners of my life that feel most out of my hands today. I set each of them down here, one at a time, at your feet. Not carelessly, not without continuing to do my part, but honestly, with open hands, instead of a clenched fist. But Lord, I have to be honest with you about something harder still. What if the outcome isn't the one I'm hoping for? What if the job doesn't come through? What if the test results are difficult? What if the relationship doesn't heal the way I've prayed it would? I have avoided asking this question directly because it frightens me more than the uncertainty itself. And yet, even here, I don't believe you disappear if the answer isn't the one I wanted. I don't believe your goodness depends on my circumstances lining up the way I've imagined them. You were good before this morning began, and you will still be good, however this day unfolds. So let me trust you, not only for the outcome I'm hoping for, but for the version of today I'm afraid of too. Let me believe that even there, even in the harder ending, you are still present, still working, still weaving something I cannot yet see. This is the deepest kind of trust, I think. Not trusting you for the answer I want, but trusting you even in the answer I fear. Help me grow into that kind of trust today, even just a little, Lord. There's one more thing I want to name honestly before I step out of this driveway. The pressure I feel to look like I have it together, even when I don't. I put on a steady voice for the people around me. I answer, I'm fine, before I've even asked myself if that's true. I compare my unraveling mornings to everyone else's curated ones. Their calm homes, their easy laughter, their lives that look from the outside like nothing is out of control at all. But I don't know what's happening in their driveways. I don't know what they're gripping tightly behind their own steady voices. And even if their mornings really were easier than mine, that was never a fair measure of whether you are near to me. Free me from the exhausting work of performing composure I don't actually feel. Let me be honest with you. Even if I still choose to be brave with everyone else, you already see behind the steady voice. You already know what my hands are gripping, and you are not asking me to have it together. You are only asking me to come as I am, the way I did at the very beginning of this prayer. Say this quietly with me. Whatever today holds, I trust that I am not facing it without you. Let that be the sentence you carry with you longer than any fear you walked in with this morning. Not a guarantee that today will be easy. A promise that you will not walk through it alone, regardless of how it unfolds. Lord, I want to name one more thing before I close this prayer. The sheer exhaustion of waiting itself. Waiting for the phone to ring with news. Waiting for a door to open after months of it staying shut. Waiting for a season to change when it feels like it has stood still for far too long. Waiting is its own kind of out of control. Because I cannot make the answer arrive faster, no matter how tightly I hold on, or how many times I check for it. I confess, some mornings the waiting itself feels heavier than whatever I'm actually waiting for. It has a way of making ordinary hours feel suspended, like nothing can properly begin until the answer finally comes. But help me see, today, that this waiting is not empty time. You are not paused, even when my circumstances are. Something can still be growing in me. still be shifting quietly beneath the surface, even in a season that looks, from the outside, like nothing is happening at all. Teach me to wait the way a tree waits through a long winter. Not frozen, not wasted, but rooted, gathering strength underground for a growth I cannot yet see above the surface. Say this quietly with me. I can wait without wasting this time, because you are still working, even in the waiting. I think now of how this morning began. Gripping a wheel in a dark driveway, engine running, going nowhere. I notice now that something in me has loosened, even if only slightly. The uncertainty hasn't disappeared, but it no longer feels like something I have to carry by myself. That is enough for this morning. That is enough to begin the drive. I am not in control of today, but I am held by the one who is. That is enough. That has to be enough. And with your grace, it will be. And now, quiet your mind for a moment and simply listen. I know the plans I have for you. Plans for peace, not for harm. Plans to give you a future and a hope. Hear these words as if spoken directly into the driveway you sat in this morning, into the racing thoughts, into the tight grip on the wheel. You did not wake up forgotten today. I was already awake with you, before your alarm ever sounded. The things that feel out of your hands were never meant to be carried by your hands alone. Bring them to mine, and watch how differently they settle. There is a promise older than your worry, older than this morning, older than every version of control you've tried to hold on to. And it has never failed once. I am with you, wherever you go. I will not leave you. I will not forget you, even on the days you forget to trust me. Say this quietly with me, if you're willing. Let it become your own voice answering back. Say this quietly with me. I am not alone in what I cannot control. I am held, even now. Let that sentence live in you for a moment longer than the others. Let it become something you can return to later today, in the meeting, in the waiting room, in the quiet after a hard phone call. Be still and know that I am who I say I am. Not still because nothing is happening. Still because I am steady even when everything around you is not. There is a kind of trust that doesn't need every answer before it can rest. It simply believes that the one holding today is trustworthy, and that is enough to loosen the grip, one finger at a time. Cast your anxiety onto me, because I care for you, not because your anxiety is too much for you to carry, but because you were never meant to carry it in the first place. Hold on to that today, not as a reason to stop trying, but as a reason to stop white-knuckling every outcome as if it depended entirely on you. Before you called, I answered. While you were still forming the words of your fear, I already knew, and I was already moving on your behalf. Let this promise sit next to your worry this morning, not to erase it instantly, but to keep it company, to remind it that it is not the only voice in the room. My peace I leave with you, not the fragile peace the world offers, dependent on everything going right. A peace that can hold steady even when things don't. That peace is being offered to you again, right now, in whatever this day still holds. You do not have to earn it. You only have to receive it, the way you receive light through a window you didn't have to build. Trust me with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In every part of your life, acknowledge me, and I will make your path clear. You don't need the whole map today. You only need the next step, and the promise that the one walking with you already sees the road ahead. Weeping may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning. Whatever kept you awake, whatever left you gripping a wheel in the dark before sunrise, it was never meant to be the last word on your life. Morning was always coming. It is here now, even inside this uncertainty. Nothing will be able to separate you from this love. Not hardship, not fear, not an uncertain outcome, not anything still to come. You are not one bad result away from being abandoned. You are not one hard season away from being forgotten. The love holding you steady this morning does not depend on how today turns out. Do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Today has enough of its own to carry, and enough strength provided for it too. You don't have to solve next week today. You don't even have to solve this afternoon yet. You only have to walk through the next right hour, carried by strength that renews itself exactly when you need it. Say this quietly with me once more, and let it be the truest thing you carry out of this prayer. Say this quietly with me. I don't need every answer today. I only need to trust the one who already has them. Let that settle over you now. Not as a magic phrase that removes the uncertainty, but as a small, steady anchor you can return to all day long. In the driveway, in the meeting, in the waiting room, in the quiet after the hard phone call. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through deep waters, I will be with you. The waters will not overwhelm you. Whatever today's version of deep water looks like for you, an uncertain diagnosis, a fragile relationship, a decision with no clear right answer, you are not passing through it unaccompanied. Underneath you are everlasting arms. Even when you feel like you're falling, like the ground of certainty has given way beneath you, there is something underneath, holding steady, older and stronger than your fear. Let these words find the exact places in you that are still gripping tightly this morning. Fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will hold you up with my righteous right hand. Read that again in your heart, slowly. I will help you. Not you must find a way to help yourself. Not you should have already figured this out. Simply, gently. Help. Every good and perfect gift comes from above and does not change like shifting shadows. Everything genuinely good that has ever come into your life, the people, the provision, the quiet mornings, the second chances, none of it was an accident you engineered. It was given, and the one who gave it does not become unreliable just because today feels uncertain. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. You do not have to win every argument in your head before it happens. You do not have to solve every outcome before it arrives. Some battles were never meant to be fought with your own strength, only witnessed from a place of stillness, while a stronger hand moves on your behalf. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Notice that the promise was never an empty valley. The valley is real. The uncertainty is real. But so is the presence walking through it beside you. step for step, never rushing ahead and leaving you behind. Say this quietly with me once more, and let it be the truest thing you carry out of this prayer. Say this quietly with me. I don't need every answer today. I only need to trust the one who already has them. Let that settle over you now. Not as a magic phrase that removes the uncertainty, but as a small, steady anchor you can return to all day long. In the driveway, in the meeting, in the waiting room, in the quiet, after the hard phone call. He will renew your strength. You will run and not grow weary. You will walk and not grow faint. Notice. Not a promise that the road disappears, only that the strength for it keeps arriving, morning by morning, exactly as it's needed and never a day too early. Surely goodness and mercy will follow you all the days of your life, not just on the easy days, all the days, this one included, however it unfolds from here. Blessed is the one who trusts, whose confidence rests in what cannot be seen with the eyes alone. They are like a tree planted by water, whose roots reach toward the stream, unafraid when the heat comes, its leaves still green even in the driest season. Let that image settle over you for a moment. Roots reaching toward a source you cannot always see from the surface. Leaves staying green, not because the season is easy, but because what feeds you runs deeper than the weather above. He who did not spare his own for your sake, how will he not, along with that, graciously give you everything else you need? If the greatest gift has already been given, freely, before you ever asked for it, you can trust that the smaller mercies of an uncertain Tuesday are not too much to ask for as well. In all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. Not that all things are good. Some of what today may hold is genuinely hard, genuinely painful, nothing to pretend about. But even inside the hard things, something is quietly being woven. A good you may not see clearly until much further down the road. You will keep in perfect peace whoever's mind is fixed on you, because they trust in you, not because their circumstances are perfect, because their attention has landed somewhere steady, instead of scattering across every possible outcome the day could bring. Let your mind rest there for a moment now, fixed, not on the fear of what might happen, but on the presence that has already promised to walk through it with you. And now, hear a word for each specific place you named this morning. For your work, and the fear that everything depends on your own strength. It is not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit that things are truly accomplished. Keep doing your honest work, and let me carry what was never yours to secure alone. For your health, and the results still pending. I am the one who heals. I am close to you in the waiting room as much as in the good report. Nothing in your body is hidden from me, and nothing in it is outside my care. For the relationships you cannot force into repair, I am at work in hearts you cannot reach on your own. Keep loving patiently. I am doing what patience alone cannot do. For the money that keeps you awake some nights, I have fed the ravens, who plant nothing and store nothing. Do you think I would do less for you? Keep being faithful with what is in your hands, and trust me with what is not. And for the quiet exhaustion of performing composure, you don't actually feel. You do not have to be strong for me. Bring me the version of yourself that is still gripping the wheel in the dark. That version is not too much for me. It never was. Let these words settle into the exact places they were spoken to. not as abstract comfort, but as a direct answer to the specific fears you named honestly, one at a time, this morning. And for the waiting itself, the slow season that has felt suspended for so long, there is a time for everything and a season for every purpose. What feels delayed to you is not forgotten by me. I am not late. I have never once been late. Let that word find the exact spot where your patience has worn thin. Not late, not forgotten. Simply unfolding on a timeline your eyes cannot yet fully see. He has made everything beautiful in its time, not instantly, not on your schedule. In its time, which has always eventually proven trustworthy, even in the seasons you were most tempted to give up believing that. Let these words settle into the quiet, unspoken places in you that have been holding their breath since 5:47 this morning. The tight shoulders, the racing thoughts, the hands still faintly remembering the shape of a steering wheel. Carry these promises with you, and before you go, receive this final blessing before you step back into your day. Let this blessing rest over you. May your hands loosen their grip on what was never yours to control. May your mind quiet, even in the middle of uncertainty. May you walk through today, one breath, 1 hour, one small act of trust at a time. May you notice the difference today between the things that are genuinely yours to do and the things that were only ever yours to release. May you do the first with courage and let go of the second with grace. Wherever this day takes you, into hard conversations, uncertain outcomes, or ordinary moments you didn't expect to matter, may you carry this truth with you. You are not facing it alone, and you were never meant to. May peace meet you before fear does. May trust rise faster than worry. And may you remember, even hours from now, long after this prayer has ended, that the same presence that met you in that driveway this morning is still awake, still steady, still holding what you cannot. If today brings the answer you were hoping for, may you receive it with gratitude. And if today brings something harder than you hoped, may you still find, somewhere underneath it, the quiet reassurance that you are never carrying it alone. May the work in front of you today be met with steady hands, not anxious ones. May the health concerns you carry be held gently, whatever the results reveal. May the relationships you cannot force into repair be softened, slowly, by patience rather than pressure. May the finances that keep you up some nights be met with quiet provision, one day at a time. And in whatever moment today, when the grip starts to tighten again, a hard email, a difficult phone call, a silence from someone you were hoping would respond, may you remember this driveway, this prayer, this small act of setting your hands open instead of clenched. You do not need to solve today all at once. This morning, before you've even stepped out of the car, you only need to take the next step already in front of you and trust that the steps after it will be met with the same steady presence that has walked with you this far. Go gently into today, beloved. You do not have to have it all figured out. You only have to keep your hands a little more open than they were yesterday. Let this be the sentence you return to whenever the grip starts tightening again during the hours ahead. You are not in control of today, but you are held by the one who is. That was true this morning in the driveway. It is true right now, and it will still be true tonight. However the day unfolds, if this time brought you even a little peace, consider staying a moment longer. Like this video if it met you where you are. Subscribe to the Graceful Dawn and turn on the bell so grace can find you again tomorrow morning. Rest now, beloved. Grace will meet you again at dawn.